had an incredible impact on this theater, on the Bardavon and on the Hudson Valley Philharmonic for over 30 years. In fact, on the whole community. Bea was born and raised in the city of Poughkeepsie and gave back tirelessly to this city. In fact, you have an insert in your playbills tonight that tells a little bit of Bea's life story and lists the long list of nonprofit organizations that she served in this community. I encourage you to read that when you get home tonight. She was a wonderful, wonderful woman, but her impact between her and Marty was huge. They were on the vanguard of this theater back in the 70s when it was questionable whether it was going to remain standing. They, along with Steve and Julia Dunwell and Marshall Efron and Ned and Teddy Ho and so many others, guaranteed loans and served on endless committees and raised tens of thousands of dollars when raising money back then for a theater like this was a questionable endeavor, and it was really questionable whether this theater would even survive. And Bea was very much a part of helping it survive, and she did it in the most generous and elegant and beautiful and loving way imaginable. Whenever I would see her in the theater, it was always the biggest smile, the biggest kiss, the biggest hug. She had no bad words to say about anyone, ever. And she lived her life that way, and she put that over to people all the time. And when I first came here in 1994, I've told this story before, but the Bardavon Gala was 2 weeks after I started working here as executive director. So, you know, I got on my tuxedo when I went to the Bardavon Gala, and I was like a guest, because I knew nobody. And the party afterwards, there were 400 people there, I knew nobody. And Bea and Marty knew that. And so Marty took me by the elbow and paraded me around. This is Senator Steve and Linda Solan, this is Rob and Emily Dyson, this is Jack Gartland, this is the mayor, this is the congressman, this is the governor, this is the trustee of a major foundation. 50 people maybe he introduced me to in 20 minutes. My head was spinning, my eyes were rolling back in my head, I was trying to remember all their names. And he took me right back to Bea, and then Marty went off to the party, and Bea patted my hand, gave me a kiss on the cheek, and she said, "Don't worry, darling, you're going to be just fine." And that's how she did it, you know, and she did it like that all the time. I can't tell you how many of us on the staff would receive a thank you note from Bea for something that we didn't know deserved a thank you. We're just doing our job or whatever it was we were doing. But for Bea, she wanted to take the time to write a letter or a note to an individual because she was touched by it. And that just doesn't really even happen that much anymore. You know, maybe you get an email or a voicemail. But how often do you sit down and write a note or a card to somebody to thank them for something that they didn't even know they needed the thanks for? So Bea was an extraordinary, extraordinary person. I'm going to miss her very much. And tonight, when you're listening to this beautiful program that the orchestra is about to play, the Wolf Ferrari, the short piece that opens it, and the beautiful Mozart bassoon concerto, which is really rarely heard, and the climax of the evening, the amazing Mahler symphony, which is really earth-shaking. But when you're listening tonight, listen to those really quiet, eloquent, beautiful, sweet passages, and think about Bea Gross, because that's who she was. Thank you very much, and now please welcome Randy, the great one.